I am here today with my good friend, my business partner, Realtor extraordinaire, Allison Barnett.
You left out Magic Maker.
Magic Maker, Allison Barnett.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me in the studio today. And I thought it would be kind of fun So there's an opinion about everything, and real estate is no different. And there are groups on Facebook. I'll probably just not even mention the actual group, but because there's a lot of them. But one of the groups that I am in, they're always posting. It's a huge group with a whole lot of primarily realtors, but then I think there's some lenders and other groups in there. But anyway, all of that is to say that realtors aren't shy about having very strong opinions on things and about voicing, and it doesn't have to be political, So I thought what would be fun is I'm going to read some of these comments that I pulled just randomly, because there's plenty, and I want to see what your take is.
Okay. Well, first, my take on those groups,
Mm-hmm.
You're putting a whole lot of ego in one room. I mean, I don't think any room is big enough for the amount of ego in the real estate field.
That's very true.
So,
because
that's why everybody has opinions.
Right.
Everybody's fighting for it.
And there is something about most real estate agents that I know or have known or even been involved in a transaction with. There is no shortage of they know everything.
Well, I wouldn't say they know everything, and there are a lot.
You don't think that a lot of them have that? That's the ego.
Well, yeah, some of them do. But
like what was the one that was? We should start there. What was the one where she's been doing this for all these years, and she was basically educating you on the contract?
Yeah. I had an agent who was telling me that I should do a backup offer or a backup contract. And my clients don't want to do a backup contract. They just want to be a free agent looking for homes. If you didn't want their offer in the first place, why should they do the backup contract? And this agent spent a solid 5 to 10 minutes explaining to me what I should be telling my clients to convince them to do this backup contract, which I did not feel was in their best interest.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There are so many agents. It doesn't matter if they're talking to just a layperson who doesn't know anything about real estate, or a lender who actually does know a good bit, or somebody who's been in real estate for more than 20 years.
But some of us play well with others and some just don't. And, that's in any sandbox.
Yeah.
But definitely comes out in the world of real estate.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't disagree. So
bring it on.
We're going to start with, and these are literally verbatim. I'm not changing anything. So if you don't get the context, it's because there was no other context.
Okay.
Besides, that's how it starts. Besides, it's the law. How do you explain to a buyer that they need to sign a buyer's agreement? I just lost another buyer. As in, they don't want you to actually respond to, well, it's the law, now they have to. So she's saying, other than it being a law, how do you explain to a buyer that they need to sign?
Okay, so basically this is a bidder agent who is not liking the NAR rulings that now you have to have representation in writing before you show a house. Otherwise, you don't have the right to get paid. Any person who's actually run a business knows that the more you protect yourself, the more likely it is that you will get paid. So how would I respond to this person? Well, I think that they need to look at the fact that it is beneficial to their time management to get the freaking buyer's brokerage agreement signed.
So you're talking in terms of from the agent's perspective.
Yeah. So they need to buy into it. Mm-hmm. The problem is this agent doesn't believe they need one. They just want to go show houses. And so they're very much, in my opinion, bitter that they now have to get this agreement, and they lost a client because the client doesn't want to sign it. Well, what were you telling them in the first place? That you work for free unless they buy a house? Were you the one agent who got us into the lawsuit by selling people on the fact that buyers don't pay commissions and compensation, sellers do? And then you had your freaking vocabulary and understanding of real estate incorrect in the first place. So there's so much wrong with it.
So then I'm going to add a part 2 to that question. It's my own question is,
I'm getting pumped up already.
I can tell. This is what I was looking forward to. So prior to this whole big NAR settlement, let's just say that over the course of 6 months, you worked with 10 different buyers, showing houses. Prior to the NAR settlement, how many would have signed the buyer brokerage agreement before you started showing?
With me?
Yep.
Every one of them.
Every one.
Every single
one. I thought
one.
that there were times that you would show without having them sign.
If it's somebody who, yeah, it's very rare. And they're like, I have to see this house because my lender sent them to me and they had to see that house. They were in love with it right now. And I hadn't even had a buyer consultation with them. I might meet them at the house and show them the house where we are having that buyer consultation at the exact same time. We're looking at the house and we're probably not leaving that house with a conversation on, I'm about to send you some paperwork you need to sign.
That makes sense. I like it. Good answer. We'll play.
Check. Now, here's why, though. You didn't ask why it's so important. And I think that's pretty imperative.
Why is it so important, Allison?
I mean, well...
Is it better?
Why we should work with sarcastic people in business. So the reason that I require it, and I think all agents and buyers should want to have this agreement, is it's cards on the table. I tend to be a very cards on the table, no BS person, and I want to make sure that you understand exactly what you're getting into before you fall in love with the castle. It's the same as getting financed before you ever look at houses. Don't fall in love before you know that you can marry it. So same thing. If we don't know how we're covering some of this compensation and you're just assuming, and then you fall in love with the house, and then we go to do a contract and I'm like, well, we know that you have your down payment. And according to your lender, you could also cover your closing costs. However, I have to get paid as well. Who's covering that? And you say, oh, we don't have the money. Then we have a whole negotiating factor that we have to tap into that we would have had to tap into necessarily if we had all cards on the table. So it's just everybody's protection.
I like it. No, that makes sense.
Just smart business. Do smart business, people.
It's that easy. Next question. This one's easy. I just wanted to get your take.
That sounded very polished. I just wanted to get your take.
What are the best days and times for a buyer to have an open house? Sorry, a seller to have an open house.
I don't think there's a rule. Now, industry standard is Sundays.
Sunday, right?
Sundays midday. However, I never really have Sunday as my open house day.
Well, you don't conform to any rules, but why is it that you feel that way?
Because I want to be front and center and know that this house is getting attention. And we can publicize it, we can advertise it, we can give, let the neighbors know about it at any time. So if I want to do an evening one because it's a super cool house and it has an amazing pool in this backyard and the twinkle lights, I might want to do it in an evening.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's very house specific. Otherwise,
it's case by case.
Yeah, I like Saturday morning open houses because the people who show up want to see the house. They're not just out wandering.
No, that makes good sense. I like it. Good answer. We'll play. All right, next question. My broker made me turn down a listing that's 2 hours away. It's a $750,000 listing. Said it's a liability since I won't be able to provide good service. What? Why? What say you, Allison?
Okay, so I have to say it depends on the area.
You're going with it depends.
I'm going with your favorite. It depends. It depends on the area. So in Atlanta, we all say we're from Atlanta and we are in a 3-hour radius.
Yeah.
The reality is if you have Google and are in the same MLS, I can pull off that sale for you without concern, so long as I'm willing to make that drive and have done it before. However, there are areas that if it's 2 hours away, you may not be in their listing service. It may be small town USA where you don't have the relationships. And if you don't have the relationships, you're not getting that house sold. So I think that there are a whole lot of factors here.
I agree.
But I will say your broker is not your boss. So part of that is you need to have a check there on why is your broker saying it? Is your broker just a control freak who is saying you can't take buyers or sellers? Or is your broker actually saying, know your shit before you take the client?
Goes back to, I said she doesn't conform. And on that note, I think that's where we're going to end it, but I think we're going to turn this into a series. If you would like to get in touch with this one, because clearly she knows a thing or two, just a thing or maybe two. I'm going to leave all of her information in the description so you can reach out to Allison, and thanks for joining us.